Right. Have anybody in here at the moment, but that's okay. I'm just going to give a little bit of an intro here for posterity's sake and for post viewership reasons. So, I'm going to be trying to grind a little bit of the ladder this afternoon slash evening, and we're going to be playing what is currently the hot deck in standard format. It's Jeskai Yorion Lukka deck. If anyone's been paying attention to the format as a whole, you should be aware of this deck, uh, at least to some capacity. This thing's been kind of the talk of the town ever since this past weekend. Apparently, it did well at the the online Magic Fest events that have been running lately in the absence of in-person tournaments. Basically, the idea of the deck, we'll just go over that real fast here. This is a Yorion deck, as most control decks in this format are. Companion effect being that we have to play at least 20 cards more than the minimum size of 60. That hasn't really been a big deal. Kind of just seems like we're just jamming more power into the deck overall at not a lot of expensive consistency. Still working out the numbers a little bit in terms of mana base. Right now we're rocking 36 lands, but I have considered going up maybe a land or two. We'll see. It's felt fine so far. Not perfect, but fine. Main point of the deck, as opposed to a lot of control decks, this deck has a number of things that make tokens. We're talking about Birth of Meletus, second chapter, making the 0/4 wall. Omen of the Sun, making 2 1/1s. Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis, making some 1/1s. Castle Ardenvale, the full set in this deck, actually making 1/1s. And the whole reason you want to do that is because we're trying to get Lukka into play, use that -2 ability, get a token out of there, and effectively polymorph it into Agent of Treachery. This thing is the big end game. It's just taking over everything right now. All the mid-range decks just fold to this card because they don't go big enough to beat it. Even a giant Hydroid Crest is drawing, 5, 6, 7 cards, whatever. Give me your 10, 12, 14, 14 flyer. Doesn't matter. That's the main goal of the deck. You have a lot of ways to get extra Agent of Treachery triggers, whether that be bouncing with Teferi, replaying it, flickering it with Yorion, or just, activating Lukka a couple times in a row. That's basically how this deck works. You've got Shark Typhoon in here as well as kind of a nice backup plan. Also, in a pinch, you can make the Shark token and have it available to sacrifice to Lukka. But generally speaking, you want to use this as a win condition that allows you to play the controlling role of the game until you have an opening to jam for the Lukka. So in order to facilitate that, we've got some card drawing effects in Omen of the Sea and Narset Parter Avails. That'll help us get there. Of course, the cycle on Shark Typhoon also helps, mainly to hit your land drops and other things of that nature. And then you have Teferi, which is just the ultimate. Stop interfering with what I'm doing. Let me do my thing. Generally, you want to try to go Teferi into some sort of token making thing into Lukka and get the Agent of Treachery train rolling. That's the ideal set of circumstances. Not a lot of removal in this deck. Between the Teferi bounce, Shatter of the Sky, and Agent of Treachery picking stuff up. I guess we have Elspeth Conquers Death as well. Those are the main elements of board control that this deck presents. Sideboard-wise, there are a couple of plans, and in a deck like this, you don't tend to benefit a lot from having 1 or 2 ofs in the board that you bring in a match unless they're part of a more cohesive strategy. So, for example, you see a pair of Deafening Clarion here. These are obviously for the aggressive matchups, just to have a cheap sweeper sooner. Stuff like any of the Lurrus aggressive decks, Rakdos aggro, if you run across the random mono red deck, which not actually been around all that much, but you would want a card like this. And Omen of the Forge and Dream Trawler, those are kind of one package. Those will come in against all the beatdown decks. Often you'll be siding out your Agents of Treachery because a 7 mana 2/3 that takes over a card that costs 1 or 2 mana, not a great rate. Whereas being able to guarantee a Dream Trawler off of a Lukka activation is actually much more impactful. Against the control decks, there's some argument to being able to bring in Dream Trawler, but I think you just want to have Agent of Treachery, so you're only bringing in the Mystical Dispute. I haven't exactly decided how I want to find room for those. I've toyed with the notion of cutting fires, because obviously you can't play spells on your opponent's turn, and having a counterspell in hand doesn't work so great. But the turns where you get it in play are just so explosive that it's almost not worth it. It could just be to cut Shatter the Sky. Really depends on what your opponent's doing. There's not a lot of blue-white control that's going to be on Dream Trawler exclusively as the win condition, so this card is less important in those matchups than it was last format. You can also just eat it with a Shark Typhoon, or, you know, just buy yourself some time with Teferi bounces, Elspeth Conquers Death, things of that nature. But yeah, without getting any more long-winded than I already have, let's get into some games here and see what happens. We're going to go straight into ranked, not going to mess around with anything else, and see if we can get up there a little bit in the ladder. I'm going to put a little bit of music on. If it becomes overbearing, let me know, and then we can get rid of it. Right, so this hand looks fine. We've got an early play with Omen of the Sea into a Teferi Time Raveler. If they don't have anything pressing going on at that point, we can just bounce Omen of the Sea and start generating some card advantage. So I'm going to lead with the Hallowed Fountain here, so our Castle Ardenvale can come into play tapped, or untapped rather, next turn. And there's no reason to do it right now, so we'll just pass the turn. Orzhov Enforcer. Alright, looks like some sort of black-based aggressive deck. Not really sure what that could be. I guess it could be the Rakdos Sacrifice deck. We're going to push this Lukka. We've already got 2 copies. I'm going to keep a land, because as a control deck, you just need to hit your land drops as much as possible. Here, I am going to just... I'm just going to push this thing, the Teferi, get it off the table, buy ourselves some time. That's all we need. We have fires locked up for next turn if we really want to. With our 5th land, it might even be beneficial to just wait until we have 5 mana in play before we play fires, so that we can guarantee get something off of it. But in this situation, it's tough to say. Because if I don't play fires right now, they could have some sort of discard effect. There's not a lot of them being played at the moment. But I think, just to be safe, they don't, unless they have main deck Parika's Libation, they don't have a way to get rid of this card. So, this feels pretty safe. We're going to lose our Teferi here, but it's whatever, not that big of a deal. This looks like it's more along the lines of a mono-black Devotion deck. Probably Grey Merchant of Asphodel is going to be in our future at some point. Hopefully they play something that we can nab. Yeah, that's perfect. Because here's here's what's going to happen. We have a Yorion in play now, or rather a Fires. So we're going to do that. We're going to Elspeth Conquers Death for free. Nab the Midnight Reaper. I think we're going to play Yorion. There's no reason to get fancy here. Just get your value while you can. Flicker our Omen. Flicker the Elspeth Conquers Death. Profit. Get the Ayara out of here. Agent of Treachery. We're actually getting relatively close to being able to just cast that card. And I'm just going to keep both of these. I don't see any reason not to. Got a blocker up now, so next turn we can play Narset. It's fine. None of this matters. And let's see, so we've got a Narset. I do want to... I think I want to use my mana this turn, but I don't think I want to cycle the Triome. think I am just going to get the Omen out of here. Got another agent. I don't think I want another agent. I want these Lukkas to actually be able to convert, and yeah, we've got 2 more in the deck beyond that, but... Alright, let's just see what Narset's got going on. Shark Typhoon is a good get here. I don't think I'm going to need Shatter, and I don't really want to shatter away my own Yorion, so we'll just take Shark Typhoon. This will give us a nice play in case he removes a Yorion and wants to try and kill Narset or something like that. Midnight Reaper. Well, that guy's probably going to get stolen by Agent of Treachery next turn. Okay, opponent gets a little bit of card advantage here. Not too really concerned about that. Actually, they don't because Narset. LOL. Yeah, just gonna get the Shark rolling here. 4/4 is gonna be enough to hold off pretty much anything his deck can play. And he hasn't shown us any removal at this point, so... Here we get our Teferi back. And actually, let's just do this. I think I'm going to play this Plains. Because after 7 mana, I don't really need any more than that. We've got the ability to play Agent for free now. So I am just going to Agent to steal Midnight Reaper. And then I'm going to bounce Agent back to my hand and steal his Ayara. I don't care at all about the token. I just want to take him off of Devotion, yeah, and see, you can't come back from that. Unless he's playing Extinction Event in his deck, which I don't see that being the case. I can't think of a single card that could get him back into that game. So what do we want here? Clarion can be good, and it might be something we need to go towards. If he goes super wide, I'm going to want to be able to have a cheap card to get back into the game. This is a deck where I can reasonably get off of some amount of Narset as well. I think if I'm on the draw, I'm going to make that swap. When I mentioned in the deck introduction that we're not usually sideboarding in just a pair of cards or something like that, this might be one of the circumstances where you can get away with that because it's supplementing your Shatter the Skies. It's not like you're just swapping out one Wrath for the other. You're giving yourself access to 6 rather than 4. Other than that, I don't think I want to swap anything. Like, these agents are kind of mopey, and it might be possible that we actually want to switch into Dream Trawler. But I don't know. I think we can just give it a try this way. I'm trying to think, what could they possibly do to punish us for being off of Agent? Because if they have stuff like Nightmare Shepherd or Spawn of Mayhem or something like that, being able to nab that with an Agent of Treachery on turn 4 or turn 5 or anything beyond would be kind of nice. Helps you double down on your board presence. Whereas they could be bringing in something like Farika's Libation to deal with fires, and I don't want to play into that with Dream Trawler being my really only good win condition. So let's just keep it like this. Alright, what do we got here? This hand is not good. We have 14, 21, 24 mana worth of spells in our hand. And no scry lands. If this Castle Vantress were a red scry land of some variety, I would consider keeping this, but I think we need more action. This hand is not great, but it's better than what we were working with. I think I just have to push the island? Or can I push, like, Steam Vents? I think I have to push island here. I want to have all of our mana locked down. I don't want to be stuck on needing double red for Lukka on a key turn or something like that. Okay, Triome kind of helps fix all of that. And despite the fact that we have a little bit more land than I would like, I'm still just going to play this to the board. Again, mana is the top consideration in a deck like this. You can cast your spells, you can often get into the game. And cards like this, like Duress, traditionally this is pretty good against a control deck. But I mean, we've got Yorion here. We have a guaranteed turn 5 play. It's not like I'm hurting to have action. Right? Like, yeah, he's probably going to have a removal spell, I get that, but you just don't see a lot of discard running around right now, particularly because of that. So here I'm just going to get rid of the Hallowed Fountain again. I don't think we're going to need excess red, but we've already got access to plenty of other stuff. Now this is going to be a turn, now that we drew Omen of the Sun. And I'm going to play Castle Ardenvale here instead of a tap land. Again, so we can get our Omen into play, but also because, well, now he just forces our hands, so this isn't quite as good. Austin, what's up, buddy? So now we don't get to eat his stuff in combat, most likely. I mean, he's not going to run the Cauldron Familiars in play, especially now that he's got, you know, an Ayara. But look, that just bought us some time. Don't see any reason to shock ourselves for that, so I'm just going to say go. That's fine. Okay, Castle Locthwain is going to be a little bit of a beating. And now we have to make the decision, do we want to keep this Castle Vantress? I think we do, because Agent of Treachery is not going to do anything here. Or it's not going to be good enough, I should say. Just get that out of here. And again, we want to make sure we have Yorion next turn. He doesn't have anything going on. I am actually, I think I'm just going to double block the Fen Lurker. Because I don't want him to just have like all these mana sinks. I want to eventually get these off the table, so let's just do that. We're going to get 2 more tokens next turn. Not worried about it. Yeah, it's fine. We're going to have infinite tokens with Castle Ardenvale as well, so I think we're in pretty good shape, actually. We're going to go up to 16 next turn with the gain 2 off of the Omen. Have 3 blockers to his 3 creatures. Okay, so now we just play Vantress, since he knows about it. Flicker Omen of the Sun. This is crazy. I have not seen Mono Black Devotion in a very long time. I don't even care about Grey Merchant right now. I just want to avoid him having something like Nightmare Shepherd. And I actually think we're going to need to just start clocking with Yorion. Now that we have Castle Ardenvale active, you can basically tie up the creatures on the ground forever. More or less. That's kind of a beating. Ayara, okay, just for the drain 2. Draw 1. Sure. Now, there's some argument to using Castle Vantress here. I don't think we're hurting that much for anything, so I'm just going to make sure our board presence stays competitive with what he's got going on. See, we could use this temple to help us figure things out. Omen's fine. Witch's Oven. Okay, so he's going to have the cat nonsense going on now, but he does have to ditch something. Okay, so there's Grey Merchant for, what, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this is not looking great. Could really use a Shatter the Sky or something, but... So that being the case... I have a feeling he's either got another Grey Merchant or he's going to have some way to get this guy back into play. Let's get that out of here. I'm going to take the Omen because it gives us a cheap way to dig a little bit further. Here, I'm going to lead on Omen. I can find a Deafening Clarion, that's what I really want to find. There's a Shatter. Shatter and an Omen. The Omen might be okay purely on the bounds that it gets me more board presence a little more quickly, but it might be a little too slow. Kind of think I have to keep... the Shatter. I don't think there's a future in me not doing that. Is there any reason that I shouldn't attack with everything here? Let's do it. I think we're probably still losing this game, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I do get to draw a card off of this, so that's nice. Wow, he's going to bring Cauldron Familiar back? I guess it doesn't matter, but... Wait. Oh, okay, yeah. He has the Ayara, that's right. Okay, so... This game, I think I just want the Omen of the Forge. Because if we had had a way to kill his cheaper stuff earlier and prevent some of that damage, pick off those Midnight Reapers a little more cheaply. I mean, this just didn't do anything because it rot in our hand in the opener. I think I do want... Dream Trawler over Agent. This takes up a lot of deck space to have Agent in there, so... what else do I want to cut here? I need to make 2 cuts. Could go down on 1 Fires, because I don't want to clog on that card. 1 Fires, 1 Elspeth Conquers Death, maybe. He's got some targets, but things like Cat, Witch's Oven, Yarok's Fen Lurker, those cards don't get eaten by that, and I just don't want to be stranded with that card in hand and looking down at a board of 1 and 2 drops. But I do want to maintain some answers to, like, Midnight Reaper that actually exile it. Not give them all that value. Maybe this isn't as good as having another Narset on the play. I think I'll keep it, because I want to make sure I have plenty of chance to just go turn 4 tokens, turn 5 Lukka. Like, that's what my deck's designed to do. I don't want to interrupt that when I'm on the play, especially. That seems fine. Just a bunch of Wraths, a little bit more spot removal here. A card that can pull me back into a game I'm losing. Yeah, I think this is okay. Little unfortunate that we weren't able to do the Omen of the Sun play on turn 3 and pick off those cats in the middle of combat, but it is what it is. This hand is great. This has got everything I want. Get the cool owl. I don't want that dumb gold one. Rest. It's kind of whatever. Probably takes a Deafening Clarion. No, he takes a Shark Typhoon. Okay. That was a pretty good draw. I think we just... Do we Fabled Passage here? Yeah, we'll just Fabled Passage. It's fine. He's not doing anything. I don't have any reason to crack it, and well, I guess that would have been a reason to crack it. Kind of want to draw lands, though. But that's fine. Murderous Rider. Murderous Rider's kind of a pain in the ass, because if I bounce it with Teferi, he just gets to kill my Teferi with it. But that takes his entire turn. He doesn't have a board after that. Just get an island here. I mean, alternatively, well, let's just see what happens here, what we draw. So we drew Steam Vents, that's good. So we can Fires to Fairy. Fires to Fairy, bounce it. If we just tick up to Fairy, is that any good? Because if he has another Murderous Rider, that's when things get a little dicey. You know what, actually, so let's just do this. Let's play Fires. Let's get Teferi into play. We'll bounce the Murderous Rider. It's whatever. He's going to kill it, and then we can set up an Elspeth Conquers Death later. Get back our Teferi. I'd much rather he do something like that than, like, Eat to Extinction or exile it in some other way. So, predictably, Murderous Rider here. Okay, he's going to play Nightmare Shepherd. That is actually perfect. So let's just do this. Just tapped. We'll eat the Nightmare Shepherd. And I'm also going to cast this Omen because we won't be able to cast it on their turn. I think I like both of these cards, to be honest. I'm going to keep the Elspeth on top because I'd rather have him duress the Elspeth than duress another Elspeth Conquers Death, in case something happens to the one that we have in play. Ayara, okay, so he's just like not willing to play Murderous Rider right now for some reason. You trying to bait out the Deafening Clarion? Or is he trying to bait out the Yorion? Frankly, I don't really care. I am going to... Oh, he probably doesn't want to kill the Teferi until the Elspeth Conquers Death goes away. That's probably what he's doing. But let's see. I guess I could just get Elspeth out there, right? Make some tokens, play Yorion, bounce everything. Some tokes. Play Yorion. Flicker, 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 flicker. Okay, great. Okay, Nothing else. Yada yada yada. Get your Yara. Yeah, that's good enough. We found the line. Okay. So as you can see, I'm only in Silver 2 at the moment. Ladder reset not that long ago, and I haven't really been playing much. Played maybe 3 or 4 matches in the last week or so. Nothing crazy. I'm just going to do this now. No reason not to. Been working towards getting my Vaydruk cosmetic, so we'll just do that. This card has been disappointing compared to where I wanted it to be, but it's just how it goes sometimes. Quick look at the deck. I don't think we need to make any changes. I mean, we just played against Mono Black. Like I said, it's a deck I haven't seen in a long time. Everything else felt fine. Mana was fine. Just move on. Next round. I do have the list up on Stream Decker. It's not any different than the list from last weekend that won. You already know the list. You don't even need to pull it up, but it's there if you want it. Okay, gonna be on the draw this game. That's fine. Looks like the Yorion Mirror. And I think this is a good hand against that deck. Shatter is kind of whatever, but everything else is good. I guess we'll just play the Triome. It's fine. Okay, so this might be the Simic Mutate pile, which I'd be okay if it were. Could also be... could be a flash deck. Okay, no, this looks more like... Oh, he bricked. Okay, then. If he bricks on land... Okay, that's good. This might actually be the flash deck. Okay, he bricked on land. Wish we had a Teferi to punish him, but... You know, what are you going to do? Yeah, there it is, 1 turn late. We're going to keep it anyway. Okay, so we've got a token for Lukka. I'm going to allow that. I'll just play Omen end of turn. If he doesn't hit a land, I wouldn't be surprised to see him concede, but he did. Alright, this might be the Yorion Bant control deck. That actually looks to be more the case. In which case, I'm going to get this Shatter out of here for now. I think all we need to do is worry about getting Lukka into play. So now I'm going to Teferi. I am just going to bounce, well, let's see. I can get my card economy and bounce Omen of the Sea. I have my 4th and 5th lands locked up. Could he have anything that would kill Teferi next turn? I don't think so, but I am going to go ahead and just do this. Still have Teferi in play. Okay, there's that. We're going to discard this Shatter the Sky, I believe. I don't think the game's going to come down to that. Okay, Tamio's fine. She name here. Shark Typhoon. Okay, bricks. All's in there now. Anything that matters? No. I think what I'm going to do is... I'm just going to steal... I want to just steal the island and then Elspeth Conquers Death Tamio next turn. Yeah, that's fine. Just keeps him off of Elspeth Conquers Death, gives me an extra land. Keeps him off blue mana also. I mean, I guess he can... Well, actually he can't. He can't just grab a land back. He's looking at his bin. Gonna grab back Fable Passage. Wait. Oh yeah, okay, sorry. He can grab whatever he wants. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Next turn, make a 1-1 with Shark Typhoon, go grab it, take his island again. Okay, so in this matchup, fairly certain I don't want Shatter the Sky. I do want Disputes, and I think I want Gust. I'm going to get rid of Elspeth. Don't really need that. And I'm gonna cut. One Fires on the strength that they're probably gonna have more counter spells than I will. They also could have access to enchantment removal. I don't know exactly which one. It might be like the cycling 2-mana one that I can't recall the name of off the top of my head. But I basically don't want to play Fires of Invention, not have a great follow-up, and then have this get picked off and, you know, just kind of waste a card in my hand. If we get it, great, but I think I'd rather have access to Gus and Disputes to be able to fight over counter spells and key permanents like Uro and, you know, Tameo, things of that nature. So I think that's fine. Otherwise, everything looks good to me. Opponent's still sideboarding here. Not really sure what all he's planning on bringing in. This deck can also play Knight of Autumn, which is another good reason to take Fires out. This matchup would be one of those situations where you want to have Fires and a 5-drop. Not Fires, minimal impact 2 to 4-drop. In fact, in this configuration, I think the only other 4-drops that we have are other Fires of Invention. And everything else is kind of mopey to play off of a Fires, so doing it this way, I think, gives us the ability to have access to Fires without flooding our hand with it and opening up the... Well, never mind, doesn't matter. I guess he did not want to play through the rest of that match. I'll take it, you know, whatever. Now, these are probably unlikely to occur. See. Alright, no companion, or at least not displayed yet. Alright, is that Umori, I think? Shatter the Sky is the linchpin against Umori decks, so this hand is perfect. Yep. Okay, this is probably the Simic Mutate pile, so we do need to be cognizant of that. Yep, this is definitely it. Is he going to send a message? No. Okay, so next turn, he's probably going to have the mutate 3/4 guy. That being the case, do I want this Birth? Be a nice blocker for it for a while. Could also just play Omori, and then I'll wish I hadn't drawn this card. You know, this is too low impact. Let's just move on. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so take our licks next turn. If I had a plains here, I would conceal the fact that I had double white. Let's see, what am I going to take next turn? Or I could, in theory, get hit by an Aluna next turn. So I could do something like play Narset and conceal the white source that way. And that way, if they want to kill her, they have to devote some amount of damage. I kind of like that. Sets us up for future Elspeth Conquers Death card advantage. Yeah, I wish I could take both of these. What we can do... Lukka isn't going to do anything if we don't have tokens. We've already got an Agent of Treachery in hand. I think Omen... I'm going to take Omen here. I think it's close. But this gives us something to do on a subsequent turn. Because, like, let's be real here. Narset's going to die this turn, in all likelihood. Next turn, we're going to Shatter. We did manage to conceal the fact that we have double white, although our opponent, if they're not, you know, lobotomized, will probably be able to deduce that we have double white available to us. And then the following turn, we can do something like, you know, Omen plus Birth, or Omen plus Blue Omen if we draw it. Whatever. We've got stuff going on. Okay, so there's an Aluna, as predicted. This is okay, because he's going to get some other thing, as long as he doesn't hit a pig. Which he hit a pig. What is that? That's 14, 17. Oh, that's just death, actually. Forgot this thing gets haste. Alright, well, good beats. Okay, so we keep Agent of Treachery in this matchup because we can steal the big fat mutate piles that they make. Narset seems pretty mopey. Basically, all I really want are the Gus. Maybe just cut Narset. We didn't really have time for that. And why didn't he hit an Arboreal Grazer there? That would have been nice. Let's see. How does that feel? Need to keep all the Shatters because it's the best card. Obviously, we didn't get there in time, but we were on the draw versus an Arboreal Grazer, so our opponent was 2 lands ahead of us by the time their turn 4 roll around. Elspeth Conquers Death kills anything that matters in their deck outside of a hexproof mutate via Paradise Druid. So we keep that. They're going to have Gem Razor, which kind of sucks, so maybe we would cut down on fires, keep Narset on the play. Everything else, I don't care if they kill. This gets its value on the way in. If they kill it, it's whatever. And the other enchantments are inconsequential if they destroy, so let's try this. Okay, I'm going to play first. They still have a Mori as a companion. This hand's not phenomenal, but we'll keep it. I think I'm going to actually lead on Temple this time, rather than Raugrin Triome. On the very small off chance that we rip 2 lands over the next few turns, yeah, I do not want that right now. I want to be able to cycle this away on like turn 4. Comes down to it. That's not a bad draw. You know what? Actually, I am just going to play it now because we need to set up for Teferi into fires. That's awesome. That's great for us. So now we can just go Castle Vantress into Teferi, bounce Baby Godzilla. Get that out of here. That's a good draw. Really insulates us from them having like some particularly obscene turn. Part of me doesn't want to play Fires here. Only because then our Ether Gust for... I assume they have to have some sort of mutate creature this turn. And I want to keep Teferi around. So I am just going to... just going to play this Sacred Foundry tapped. I was thinking about maybe making a Shark as a 2/2, but I want to save that. This thing is going to be kind of key to winning this game, I think. I guess I did tick up Teferi, so I could have Instant Speed Shatter the Sky available to me. There's a Mori. Let's see, do I want to worry about this? So next turn, what happens? If I Ether Gust this, then he basically has to play it again, but I'm starting to get my mana online, and that's more important, I think. Yeah, I think I'm just going to Ether Gust this, because I'm going to be tapping out quite a bit over the next several turns. Okay, similar premise here. Not going to be playing Fires quite yet. There's no reason. And now this gives me the ability to play Shatter the Sky, clean up whatever the hell he's got going on. If he just wants to send Baby Godzilla for 1, whatever. Alright, so that's what he's got going on. I think I'm okay with this. Anything he puts in play just gets eaten by Shatter the Sky. Remember, he's an Umori deck. All of his cards have to be creatures if they're not lands. A Parcel Beast. It's fine. We'll just get our value now. Care about giving him a card. And I think I'm going to wait one more turn before I play Fires. Maybe not. Let's do this first. Let's see what's going on. Narset into Omen of the Sun. I think we actually want both of these things. Because all we're missing now is Lukka. This is going to give us a lot of action with Yorion. So let's go ahead and get Fires in play now. I don't think they have any haste threats unless they just, like, get absurdly lucky. Like if they went Arboreal Grazer into Illuna and hit Pig or something like that. It's about their only way to kill Teferi in this position. So now... okay, first things first, let's just tick Teferi up. We're going to be bouncing him this turn, I'm fairly certain. Let's see, so we have Passage. What are we going to do this turn? If we Omen of the Sun, Yorion, Flicker, played Narset, that'll give us the most bodies. Alternatively, we can Narset Yorion, then play Omen of the Sun. And I think I'm not going to Flicker Teferi because I don't want him to... if he has a... well, he's not going to have a counterspell. What am I talking about? I think this is the play I want to make. Because again, we've got most of what we need. We just need to make sure we find a Lukka soon. Right now we can make 5/5 Shark. I think being able to make a pair of those might be pretty good, so let's just do that over the next couple of turns. Don't care about flickering to Fairy. It's going to be on the same loyalty regardless of what I do. Let's get an Omen of the Sun into play, gain a couple life, and we'll just pass the turn. Agent's fine. I'm going to keep that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Ship the Triome. We don't need the other land. If I remember right, okay, this does have trample. But provided we don't get, like, comboed out by a pig this turn. Okay, there's 4 runners. Not really even that worried about that. It's his entire turn. These things get trample, but it's whatever. Let's see where he sends this stuff. He sends it back into his library, because we're going to start another game. Okay, so don't think we change anything here. Still like Gust, even if we're not using it as a counterspell, having the ability to play the card, even after Fires of Invention is in play, just to make him pick something up, means it's not completely dead all of the time. This card and this card don't kill anything in his deck. I think Dream Trawler is worse than Agent of Treachery here. Don't want Disputes because he has very little actual blue stuff, and everything else is pretty mediocre, so let's just get this match over with. There's a fair amount of salt going on around Agent of Treachery at the moment, so I could certainly see, like our previous round opponent that just conceded in the middle of the match, could see him saying, you know, I just don't want to deal with it. That's fine. Free wins for us, I guess. Hopefully we can win this one and continue progressing upwards in the ladder. Right now we're on the first match of our Silver 2 rank. If we lose this, we go back down to Silver 3 at 4 pips, or whatever you want to call them. I think that game 1, we just didn't really have the necessary cards to be able to compete. He just had such a fast start, being on the play, having the Arboreal Grazer, and then actually hitting a pig with a Luna. Kind of exactly what his deck's designed to do, and it just happens sometimes. Okay, here we go. Hope anyone that's watching this has been entertained so far. Trying to keep the commentary rolling. Middle of the gameplay. This is literally the first time I've ever done this, so trying to get a feel for how that's impacting my actual play. I think it's fine so far. Haven't made any egregious mistakes. Or what our opponent is thinking about. I guess while we're waiting for opponent to figure out their opening hand or whatever else it is that they're doing, I guess they haven't seen it yet. Shameless plug to follow my social media that I've created for this channel. Like I've said in the bio, it's pretty bare bones at the minimum, but that will come as time goes on. I'll be adding more features and interesting things down on my Twitch channel, my Twitter that I've created for this, at CanmanGaming87. Best way to know when I'm going to come online. Saying that now, I did not tweet that I was coming online, but you know, I'll get the hang of that. I've had a few things I've been trying to figure out here. All right, so opponent again, just I don't know if they disconnected or what the case is, but I'm not going to complain. Oh, we're in silver tier 1. Okay, so one more win and we'll be into gold, which is good. Gold is where things start to get interesting. I think for the most part, people are still just kind of dicking around in silver. Let's pop this pack, see what we get. Unpredictable Cyclone. Well, that card definitely had an unpredictable future when it was spoiled, and, well, it doesn't really pan out into anything. Okay, so I am going to take a very brief break, just a minute or two, and I will leave this up in case anybody needs to see it, but otherwise I will return momentarily. Thanks for sticking with me, those of you that have. Right, back for some more. Coming in on the Ninja Gaiden theme. Feels good, man. Okay. Let us continue. So far, we are undefeated in our matches. Can't expect that to last forever, but feels good. Again, we had to crawl out of silver, so it's, you know, whatever, doesn't really mean that much, but still feels good to win. Okay, so this hand beats up on creatures. Needs a little bit of help. We're on the play versus... Is that? Looks like a Luris? Wish I had a way to view the battlefield. I think we're going to keep this one. Yeah, it's a Luris. Okay, good call. Good call, Can Man. Okay, this looks like the Boros cycling deck. We'll conceal our game plan a tiny bit by not cracking Fabled Passage there. This is likely going to be a match where Elspeth Conquers Death comes out, or Moment of the Forge. We're going to crack this now in case we draw to Fairy. Just make him pick up his Draneth Healer. Okay, did not, but that's alright. We're going to have a very fast Lukka this game. The one thing that sucks is I'm not going to be able to shatter the sky while keeping a creature. We'll see how much that actually matters. So what do I do here? I guess I have Castle Ardenvale. I don't really have to worry about that. I can just shatter him now and keep my life total high. Or maybe give him one more turn. If this is the Boros version and he doesn't have counter magic, then I think I can afford to just sit here this turn. We'll play Fires now. Let's see, so actually if I Wrath him this turn with Fires into Shatter, the next turn I can Yorion Lukka to take like a mountain, but that seems kind of unimpressive, so let's just play Fabled Passage. Say go. He can't do anything meaningful to us at the moment. And next turn we could just Lukka into Agent. Steal like his... whatever, it doesn't matter, Draneth Healer. Or we just steal this guy, actually. Just block here. Things do change if he ends up killing this 0-4 somehow. I'm just going to shatter the sky. It's fine. Actually, well, I kind of don't want to shatter until he has Luris in play. But I guess I have Elspeth Conquers Death. I don't really need to worry about that all that much. He's got, what, 2 cycling cards? So Zenith Flare is, like, not a thing that I need to be worried about. So, let's see. I don't exactly want to toss Yorion away. Wouldn't be opposed to Lukka this turn. The problem is if I do that, I'm probably losing Lukka, and I'd prefer to keep him around if I can. So let's just... Fires into Shatter, it's not that big of a deal. Like, next turn, we could just, like, Lukka and make a token with Castle Ardenvale. Actually, yeah, this is even better. Like, what was I even thinking about? So now, it's Castle Ardenvale. I'm gonna play Lukka first, that way in case he has like a shock or something. I guess he still blows us out either way. But this deck doesn't typically play that kind of stuff, so let's just Lukka. Make a token. And then I am just going to steal a Draneth Healer. I just want to be able to have some defense here. Next turn we can sacrifice the Draneth Healer to Lukka if we still have him, and take a land. Yeah, we... No, actually, we just Yorion here. Yeah, let's just Yorion here. That seems like the right thing to do. Just bounce this and that. No reason to bounce Draneth Healer. And I'm just going to steal a land now that we have infinite freaking board presence. I probably should have just taken the mountain. I didn't think about the fact that I actually had another spell I could cast that turn. Not a pro gamer move. That's okay. I think we're easily going to win this game, though. Now if he plays Lurrus, we're just going to take it. And I get to cast Birth of Meletus. Value. Alright, so I don't know if he's just slow rolling us or whatever the case is. It's like, you just wrecked me. I'm gonna make you wait for 2 minutes to win this match. Win this game. But I mean, look at how quickly this deck can just turn a game around. Alright, well. I guess I'm just gonna get rid of this Draneth Healer. We'll just take the mountain, cut him off of Zenith Flare. I honestly think he's just gonna time out in the match, or the game is gonna end right there. It's alright, man. I don't mind sitting around on the rope for a little while. And let's just get Agent, grab Mountain. How many cards? Let's see. 2, 3. Can't actually make 2 tokens with Castle yet, so we'll just do that. Pass the turn. Nothing to grab back. I guess I could have attacked there, but here's going to be where the match, or the game ends, so it's kind of beside the point. I guess what I can do while we're waiting for opponent to lose at his own pace is going to provide the link for Game Metal, aka Johnny Atma. Provide that to everyone here who wants to check out this music we've been listening to. If you like it at all, it's worth looking into. He's got a gigantic catalog to pull from. I have, 43 of his tracks on my computer at the moment. It's all free to download. But he's got at least twice that much, if not more, and he's still putting stuff out fairly consistently. So give him a follow, or at least check him out. Okay, so in theory, how would we have boarded in that matchup? Pretty straightforward. I would just take out the Agents of Treachery and a couple copies of probably Elspeth Conquers Death and Lukka. Bring in the Dream Trawlers, Deafening Clarions, Omens of the Forge, and I'd have to trim somewhere else. Probably the Elspeth seems a little unnecessary. This would be 4, 5, 6, 7. Find a cut somewhere else, maybe like a Teferi or something. Teferi's good against bouncing the Fox, I suppose, but you can chump them all day if you really need to. Shadow the Sky mops them up. Narset's really good against that deck to shut them down from all their cycling BS. Don't need to bring in counter spells to fight over Zenith Flare, because as long as your game plan's being executed, you should be able to keep them under enough pressure to close the game out before that card even matters. Obviously, if the games are, starting to be a little more protracted, sure, that becomes a threat, but doesn't seem that scary to me. If I'm being honest, that Boros cycling deck seems a little bit more like a deck that's halfway between a constructed deck and a draft deck. It's okay, it can do some things, but it's kind of weak overall. Alright, what do we got going on? Okay, we've got Obosh over there, so we've got odd creature beatdown deck. Elspeth Conquers Death will be medium. Shatter's a good catch-up card. We've got Omen on the draw. I guess we're going to keep this hand. This could easily go wrong, but we're going to find out. Obosh, there we go. Okay, that's good for us. Guess it doesn't really matter. We'll just do this. We'll do this over Fabled Passage because this is going to come into play tapped at some point. And it doesn't really matter. Here, we can at least have Omen of the Sea up, and we're not thinning our library of any lands, which is minuscule when we're talking about an 80-card deck, but we draw one basic. That could have been a basic that we would have cycled away, or rather taken with a Fabled Passage, so those very small margins can be the difference sometimes. Alright, so in this position, now all of our lands are going to come into play untapped. But what do we want to do? I think I'm going to leave Narset in my hand, even though he can't outright kill it at the moment. This also could just be mono-black. I was kind of thinking initially this might be red-black, but it could be mono-black. But I think I'm going to leave Narset in my hand for the moment, because I don't want to just get one card out of it. Is that right? Do I even care? I guess I have Yorion to flicker it out. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get Narset into play, actually. Next turn, we're likely going to Shatter the Sky. Don't really need Bertham Helitus at this point. We've got two other lands. We'll just take Shark Typhoon. So now he's going to smack Narset, which is fine. Takes 4 to activate that. If he doesn't play anything here, that's fine. Just Esper Squad. That is a good card to be able to shatter away. And he has a Rotting Regisaur. Man, I wish I had a Teferi right now. Alright, well, we're just going to shatter. Chalk up the W. Move on with our day. Next turn we can fires into Elspeth Conquers Death if he plays Obosh or something similar. Another Regisaur or whatever. Yeah, here we go. Thanks for playing. Let's go get another white source here. Make our Birth of Meletus slightly worse, but whatever. It's irrelevant at this point. Now if something does happen to our Narset, great, we get to bring it back. I mean, he can obviously kill it right now, he has Mobilized District, but that takes his entire turn. Yeah, he just... This card, man, Elspeth Conquers Death, that is a freaking beating. Okay, so he's Obosh, Mono Black, has Mobilized District. Didn't see any 1-drops out of him. Doesn't mean he doesn't have them. I think the only thing I'm going to do is cut 1 and 1 for 2 Deafening Clarions. Very similar to that first match that we played. Just want to have a slightly extra higher density of Wrath effects. Make sure that we can be deploying our Planeswalkers on clean boards more often than not. Especially like a card like Teferi, who's really good against one larger threat. Like if we can turn 4 a Deafening Clarion with a tap land, next turn Teferi, to bounce Obosh or whatever it is that he plays. That would be preferable. Agent. We hedge against him being a slightly smaller deck by removing Agent and going to Dream Trawler. And just toss in like a couple Omens. Forge. Hate that. Dream Trawler is also a card you can like realistically cast at some point in the game and have it just like brick wall everything that your opponent's doing. Where Agent is not necessarily that. Plus, if the game plays out this way, you can do something like Clarion into Shatter, into Lukka, into Dream Trawler, and go from there, or Shatter into Elspeth Conquers Death, into Dream Trawler, whatever. So, I think Trawler's probably better here. I think general philosophy is against these small decks, Agent comes out. Unless you're on the play, there's an argument for that. But in general, I think you just take Agent out in decks where you can't get, like, absurd value for it, right? His hand is not great. We're on the draw, we have a Birth of Meletus and an Omen of the Sun. That's going to buy us a lot of time, so let's just do that. We can cycle away one of these Triomes. We really only need to play one. Okay, so there's the 1-drops. You gotta figure, playing against an Obosh deck, that you're gonna run into Serrated Scorpion. Okay, he did not have a play there, which is good for us. Probably has a 3-drop of some flavor. Let's just get this rolling. And here we are. We're setting up pretty well for turn 5 Dream Trawler. As long as things don't get out of control. Hunted Nightmare is kind of brutal. Really care about it that much though. We can. If we had Agent of Treachery, that would be pretty good. I don't think we're playing Omen of the Sun this turn. What's better, Cycling Temple or using our mana efficiently, or Cycling Triome, using our mana efficiently, or playing Temple, keeping the Triome. So next turn, if I cycle Triome this turn, next turn I can play Temple and Omen, and then set up for Dream Trawler on the following turn. I think that's probably better. So we're going to take 4 this turn. Earth Miletus is going to gain us a pair of life. This doesn't have Death Touch, so we'll just block it. Block, please. Thank you. Heraldic Banner. Okay. Doesn't change anything, I don't think. It does mean that this Hunted Nightmare is going to be able to punch through Dream Trawler. Not that Dream Trawler can block it on its own anyway, but hey, there we go. That's alright. This turn, we're just going to do the Temple into Omen play. That out of here. And then I think we're going to be priced into Elspeth Conquers Death. Yeah. So here we're going to have to throw damage to a permanent or player. So if we don't block Hunted Nightmare, we take 10 damage. If we double block Serrated Scorpion, we're going to take 14 overall. Then we like lose to a removal spell. So I think we have to Omen here. Get our dorks. Just block like that. I don't mind. We can be off the Lukka plan for a little bit. We're going to Elspeth Conquers Death this Obosh. Because I don't think there is a future in not doing that. And then next turn we can Yorion for pretty good value. We'll take 7 damage here. That out of here. We can Elspeth Conquers Death to get rid of this Hunted Nightmare and escape having anything too crazy played this turn. We might be okay. Knight of the Ebon Legion. That's kind of whatever. Sort of annoying, but first Regisaur is a beating. Alright, so what do we do? We're gonna get this out of here. I'm actually going to grab a mountain, I think, because if we live through the turn somehow, then I'm going to want to have Lukka and Omen of the Forge available to like pick this off and, you know, do our thing. So what are we doing here? I guess if we Omen, we can't Omen plus Yorion this turn, which kind of sucks. But we can Yorion, get this stuff flashback. We can eat Hunted Nightmare. Have 2 blockers for that. Block Serrated Scorpion. Take 2. There's no change in the board. And then the turn after that, Lukka away Yorion into Dream Trawler, but this Rotting Regisaur is still going to be around. Right, well, we're doing this anyway. There's no future in not doing it. Anything in the bin, right? That's worth bringing back. Alright, so I kind of want to keep Rotting Regisaur around only because it's going to make them bin cards. Hunted Nightmare is like impossible to block. I think we just have to get rid of that. Is that the play? Yeah, let's just do that. We could take our lumps from Knight of the Ebon Legion for a turn or two before we start to worry about it. Rotting Regisaur. If we draw Wrath here, I think we just like can't lose. Right, that is. Man, I wish we had Omen of the Forge mana up. So we take, if we just block Rotting Regisaur, we take 5 this turn, down to 8. Then next turn happens. This is not going to end up great for us either way, I don't think, but I think that's the only block we can actually make to have a chance to win this game. Okay. So he can pump Knight of the Ebon Legion, and that will kill us. So this has 2 counters, so we can get Yorion back next turn. So I think our best shot at winning this game is play Elspeth Conquers Death this turn to kill Rotting Regisaur, kill Serrated Scorpion with Omen of the Forge, block Knight of the Ebon Legion, and then Yorion next turn. I think that's about our only shot to actually win this game. So we need to actually make sure that this... Okay, so that goes there. Now if he has a removal spell, that just blows us all out of the water and it doesn't matter. But... Oh. Alright, Elspeth Conquers Death. It's Rotting Regisaur out of here. Attacks. Alright. Good thing is, we have this going on. Bad news is, it doesn't stop him from killing a creature if he has Murderous Rider. Likely any other spell. Also the bad news... Okay, so he can't actually kill us this turn. That's good. And actually here's another thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to put these... So let's... I want to respond to this ability. Because I want to get this other Omen of the Sea into play. I guess we're just doing that, of course. So let's make sure we don't tap like an idiot here. Play Omen of the Sea. Why do I have to pay more? Auto pay. Solve. Go to 4. We're going to resolve this ability. Flicker, flicker, flicker. Flicker, because I want to get that Heraldic Banner off the table. Then pass the turn. Get all this stuff back. We go upstairs. The Heraldic Banner, get up to 8 life, and have 6 blockers. Alright, yeah, I don't think we can lose this game now. That was a tight turn. Tight series of turns, rather. Sick! Alright, let's get this out of here. Got 3 copies of Lukka. I guess if we play... that doesn't change anything. I was going to say, if we play Fires, then we can get double Lukka and get both of our Dream Trawlers in play, but no, it doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and... You know what? If we Lukka sacrificing Yorion to get Dream Trawler, then we actually get Yorion back next turn with Elspeth Conquers Death. So yeah, let's send. Play Lukka. Activate Lukka. Get rid of Yorion. Okay. Get Dream Trawler. Care. End the turn. It's been a hell of a game, man. That was good. I was actually looking for a way to get Yorion into the bin. Wait, why didn't this... Oh, it exiles, right? Eh, whatever. So we just don't get anything back. It's fine. I could make him spend mana, but I kind of want to attack with the Dream Trawler next turn. Whatever, let's just... I can't think of any way that you can give it trample. Alright, so he just wants to make a bunch of boom booms. I think what I'm going to do here is just... Lukka. I wanted to Lukka first. Whoops, I accidentally hit... Okay, didn't punish us. But I think I want to Lukka first, then Omen of the Sea. It's going to cost me 1 point that I don't think is going to matter. Okay. It's Lukka. Another Dream Trawler. Let's play... Actually might be able to save that for next turn. Just Omen of the Sea. Eat a Rotting Regisaur. Yeah, okay. Woo! Alright. Deck has some crazy comeback potential, I have to say. Okay, so... I think for the moment I am going to call that. Let's end on a high note, right? That was probably the most exciting match that we had all night. We had a bunch of people just concede due to getting their absolute butts blown off by Yorion value. And we had some matches that we just kind of trampled over. But that was a good one. That was a good match. Definitely thought I was in danger of losing that pretty easily. But like I said, this card is unreal with the correct deck construction around it. This card with the life gain, just having a little bit of incidental life gain in the deck was awesome. Putting 4 to 6 power into play with a Yorion trigger and gaining as much life is really hard to overestimate how good that actually is. A little bit of life gain here as well is not bad, but the 0-4 wall is the biggest draw, as well as being able to hit your land drops. Yeah, I mean, honestly, probably the least performing card in the entire deck. I mean, we didn't even see Elspeth at any point where it would have mattered. Shark Typhoon was kind of okay, and I still think it's good. Like, I'm not cutting this card. It's just the games that it came up, it wasn't like a big haymaker, you know, oh my god play. It was fine. It just let us put some pressure down when we needed it to. That's really all the card is meant to be. But this is the dynamic duo right here. That won us games that we really didn't have any reason to win. And, you know, honorary mention of Dream Trawler there, especially in the last match. Card is still good. The rest of the stuff was pretty good too. The matchups where we had to board that stuff in felt really good having access to all these cards. Omen, I mean, we didn't really play against too much where Omen was going to be just a backbreaker. I mean, we played against one Boros cycling deck and never saw Omen. But, I mean, we still won that match, didn't really need it. Dispute, always good. This is the one card I'm still kind of eyeballing. The only matchup I can really think of where you would want this effect, right now anyway, is the Simic Pile deck, the Mutate Pile. Any of those mid-range decks, you're just going to go way over the top with your effective 8 copies of Agent of Treachery. Some of them you get on turn 5, some of them you have to wait until turn 7. Like, this just invalidates so much of what they do. Take their Nissa, animate your own land. Now you can combat the land they just played and have a Nissa of your own going. You take what's probably their best card and take it on your side of the field, and now they have to fight against it, and they're not set up for that fight. You know, stealing Giant Hydroid Crazes like we talked about earlier. This card just kind of does it all. If they're stumbling on mana, like I think our round 2 opponent it was, that played Growth Spiral and bricked on a land drop, Agent of Treachery can just lock those games right up by taking a land, which is what happened that game. So we ended up taking, in game 2, we took an island. He had to use his Tameo to get back Fabled Passage to get an island, and we were set up to take it again next turn. Like, you just can't come back from that when you're getting agented over and over and over. And we hadn't even played Yorion at that point, so the more agents I have in play, the better the Yorion's going to become. Anyway, without rambling too much more, this deck was awesome. I'm going to keep playing this. Anyone that knows me as a Magic player knows that I really like control decks. This is a little bit different than your standard control fare. This is kind of like a control combo deck in some capacity. But it's got a lot of control elements to it. I mean, we've got our Wrath of God right here. We've got card drawing effects. We've got big splashy Haymaker cards in Elspeth Conquers Death and Lukka. We've got Teferi to tie things all together. Just a great deck. Might tinker with a number here or there, but it seems pretty good. But outside of that, anybody that comes in to view this video, thanks for checking it out. Again, shameless plug on the social media, Twitter, @Canman87Gaming. My YouTube channel is just youtube.com/Canman87. That's my original YouTube channel. I'm going to modify it a little bit to include some of the streaming content moving forward, but that's where that's going to be for now. Maybe there will be a strictly dedicated channel in the future, but check me out on either of those platforms. Would really appreciate it. And other than that, hope everyone has a good night, and we will see you next time.